Okay, here we are. Hold on a second here, folks. Wait. Okay, we got a bit of a problem here. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, we're going to talk about coaches. Seems we got coaches for everything these days, and we'll be back in a moment, and we'll jump right into the subject. Hey, welcome back. August 3rd, here in the Edmonton area. It looks like we're getting another flash flood. Always fun and games, but it's been a good long weekend. Hoping everybody is doing well, everybody's safe, getting used to the having to mask up routine. Not my favorite subject, but anyways. Let's just knock a few things off here first before we get right into stuff. Still looking for people for Friday night's edition, Spotlight Fridays. Um, Anybody has any ideas, any forums, places to go, find individuals? Literally, they can be anywhere in the world. And I'm going to keep hammering at it until we start finding some regulars. And I do believe it's going to be a very successful part of this broadcast. And I look forward to that. Look forward to definitely hearing people's stories, stories of success, even stories of their struggles, and how they finally came through everything. And yeah, could be very, very interesting and very inspiring for others as well. What else? Little update on my own training. My own training is going very well. But we're back into almost 3 weeks, I think, now from being allowed back into the gym. And managed to get my weight back up, strength's coming back up, tipping the scales at almost 218 right now, which is good for me. I'm feeling about 80% dialed in. Definitely won't be doing the show this October, sadly. Of course, there may not be any shows this October, so I guess it's not really up to me. But we're going to do our best and look at who's hosting what for late spring, early summer. I think that's where things are going to go for me. Be nice to have 10 months to a year to get ready, because I do have many other projects underway. I want to vlog the whole thing, maybe put together a little documentary with it. Also I think I mentioned earlier, working on a couple of books. One's going to be basically just more of an inspirational book, memoirs, plus, dealing with all the trials and tribulations that have happened. My story is very interesting. It's definitely not your ordinary average story, that's for sure. And I'm also putting together another one, which will deal primarily with training, my knowledge that I've accumulated over the last 43 years. And Lord knows, I think we need some of that after this weekend. A little bit of humor, a little bit of what's the word I'm looking in there, being a little bit facetious. Had a lot of time this weekend due to the long weekend, not a whole lot going on. And since I was kind of hanging out by myself, I did a lot of YouTubing, finding out what people are doing, just kind of see what's going on in the whole business, my part of the business anyways, not everybody else's. I don't go into trending stuff and just stuff to do with the fitness world. And there was much, much, much entertainment. Not all good, but definitely eye-opening, which has actually inspired today's show. I'm going to try and have some fun with it, although to be honest with you, it has some very, very sad and very hard-hitting ramifications to many individuals. But we're going to look at it in a humorous fashion. And because of my last two presentations, really dealt with just some of the despicable things that are going on. So I wanted to get away from that for a little bit. What else? hopefully within about 2 months, I'm going to be putting out merchandise. One of those things is going to be a couple of supplements, my own supplement line, and some merchandise, including t-shirts, I think hoodies or warm-up jackets, caps, and probably leggings as well. Maybe shorts. It just depends if we can find a good supplier. Anyway, so that's the news. So let's just get right into the subject. The subject. Of course, you must have realized from the title that I was being sarcastic. Apparently, we are not even able to get ourselves. I'm surprised that we actually get ourselves out of bed these days without having a coach for everything. I mean, I understand I'm in the coaching business, but there's things I think in this world that require coaches, and not even all the time, and other things that I'm sorry, you shouldn't be needing coaches. We've invented these businesses for people to, and it's surprising me that people actually end up making a living, and some of them a damn good living doing it, which says a whole lot about how people are feeling about themselves, I think, more than anything else. How we've grown to rely on these external sources of wisdom, to get ourselves into a place where we feel comfortable. So let's just go over like some of the different types of coaches. I mean, right off the top, apparently now, in order to go out and meet people and be with people, you need to have a dating coach. I think this is just hilarious. Gone are the days it seems that, you now have to have a plan, and there's a strategy, and there's do's and don'ts of, what you can say and what you can't say. And it's hilarious. We've gotten rid of all our spontaneity. We've gotten rid of all our basic instincts when it comes to, interactions with people, that we actually need a dating coach. Now, when I start going down this list of different coaches, I want to know, like, who certifies these people? Really, like, where do they get their training? Did they get, they were blessed with some type of genetic anomaly that allows them to be able to dial into people's, lack of whatever, and they're the ones to fix it? I find this rather humorous. Humorous and sad that we turn to somebody else, for example, that we things have gotten so bad. I mean, and it has gotten so bad in reality, because many people have brought it on themselves. They put so much pressure on themselves, about, being that perfect this or that perfect that. And let's face it, it's gotten so bad that people are going out and whatever parts that aren't perfect, they go out and buy them now. So it's no wonder that they don't feel like they have enough skill to date somebody properly. Now, I'm not saying that everybody, can't just have someone they can sit down and talk to about, if they're feeling like they're just, they're out of the swing of things, or they've, maybe they've come from being in a marriage for years and, forget what it's like to date people, or maybe, they've lost their spouse, or maybe there's lots of maybes. But do you really need to go to a professional somewhere? Can you not turn to friends and family and just have open discussions? Is that part like disappeared into our social, from our social circles? These people are not professionals. There's no such thing as a professional coach, and I'm going to go through some of these categories. I'll just list some of the ones that I humorously saw over the weekend. There's dating coaches. There's life coaches. Wow, life coaches. Apparently, you just, it's not worth living unless you have a life coach. How do you get qualifications to be a life coach? If you don't qualify, then you shouldn't be living. I don't really know. That's bizarre. A sex coach. Apparently, it's not good enough just to have good mutual, intimate interactions with the individual. You need to be coached, because if you're not doing it right, then somebody's not going to be happy. So who the hell decided when things are right and when things are wrong? We got to the point where things are so open now that we've become desensitized to what's really important. And it's not about whether, things are done perfectly. It's whether things are done to the mutual pleasure of individuals. A sex coach, give me a frickin' break. Marital coach, well, you know what? I still believe that people should be able to go through things and sort the things out, or turn to, their own friends and family to help them through things. You know, the marital coach, I'll almost give a little bit of leeway here too, but the truth be it, many of these marital coaches are people that have never been married themselves, or they have broken marriages themselves. So how do they qualify for being a coach? Okay. There's image coaches. Really? Someone has to tell you how to dress, what shoes to wear, what color eyeshadow you're supposed to be wearing. You not have social circles and a little bit of common sense and just be able to pick these things up, or you think that someone's going to set you down the road to get it perfect the first time, which is, I believe, the reason why many of these businesses are flourishing, because people are afraid to make mistakes or not be up to snuff, or not do it right, and therefore get persecuted. People don't like being persecuted, but that's called being vulnerable. When you're vulnerable, you grow. You make mistakes, you grow. That's what you have to do. Now we have a whole host of individuals now that have the snowflake, or the princess, disease. The first thing that goes wrong in their life, they don't know what the hell to do with it, or they're offended by every little thing. So, you have to get through that. That's how you learn, you know. Then of course, you have gurus, gurus. I'm trying to think of an acronym that would work well with that, because, but the ones I've been thinking of, I'm not really allowed to say on my channel. And the only reason is because I make sure that my channel is reasonably suitable for young people to watch. So if you'll notice that I refrain from any really vulgar type of expletives. I just don't go down that road. It's not my type of conversation, anyways. I don't prefer. I prefer civil conversation. There's a place for everything, I do believe, but it's not. You know, it's not here, and it's not. Sitting in a restaurant where there's families. Present, et cetera, et cetera. So we have training gurus. Well, here's my thing on training gurus. There's a difference between a guru and a coach. A coach, and I mean a coach in many respects, is very specific. A coach is somebody who has expertise in a specific, let's say, a specific sport. They have a legitimate place. Not everybody can teach somebody how to figure skate. Not everybody can teach everybody to, you name the sport. There's people who have been doing these things for years, and they can direct somebody down the right road. And that goes for training as well. And I don't mean, and I'm going to split that up and just go a little further into that. And when it comes to training, did anybody even realize that up until, I don't know how long ago, people say, well, it's been around forever, but no, it hasn't been around forever. The idea of personal trainers really evolved only in the last number of years. It was very few and far between, and it was more specific in regards to, I'm avoiding coaches now. I'm not talking about someone getting ready for a specific sport like tennis or golf or hockey or baseball or whatever. I'm talking about everyday individuals, and most of these people, the idea of a trainer, especially in the gym, was pretty much relegated to people trying to lose weight or somebody trying to get ready for a bodybuilding event. Okay, so what happened? Not everybody can train somebody how to be a bodybuilder. This is my forte, and this is many people's forte. Not everybody has that talent, because there was just such a small pool of individuals that really dedicated their lives to that in the first place. The thing I'm trying to get at here is that up until, I'm going to say, probably in the last 15, 20 years, you never heard of, there was none of this functional training thing. Functional training evolved because it was like a whole business that evolved and served individuals that could never train somebody in a gym because nobody's going to give them any credit. They had no credibility. They didn't look like a bodybuilder. Why is somebody going to get weight training experience or direction from them? So they invented functional training, the core, and all of a sudden, they made this sound like this is something new or something evolved, but it really is not. It's just an extension of people that were training for specific events. Functional training is all about training for, in a specific fashion to get a specific result. And it has an application. It's almost like applicable training is probably a better way to look at it. Okay. So this was never around back in those days. And many of the people you see now in the gym calling themselves trainers would not have a job. But we have personal trainers who are functional trainers. And there are some very good ones, but most of them are not. Anyways, so we have gurus. And, gurus can incorporate, anyways, we don't want to go down the dark road there. Okay, then we have people that need to give us direction on how to better ourselves. This was the classic. This honestly, God, this left me like, I didn't know whether to laugh or to shake my head. But there's a gentleman who does a show. I'll say gentleman because he seems like a nice enough fella, but he talks a mile a minute like he's a car salesman. Talks like he's a car salesman. And he's giving advice on how to be an alpha male. An alpha male. And he gives advice on everything from how to dress to how to, you should have facial hair. You want to be a bad boy. You gotta do this and you gotta do that. And this is how you talk. And I'm thinking, I need some guy to teach me or teach anybody how to be a manly man. I mean, I'm sure there's coaches in the same regard to females as well. I'm speaking here directly about guys teaching guys. This guy is going on about everything from, apparently he's an expert on everything from how to train to how to look. But the funny part I thought all about it was he's claiming to be this alpha male. And I know it's not right. But the reality is you would never pick this guy for an alpha male anywhere if you just saw him walk into a room. He's a half decent looking guy. Problem is, he only stands about 5'5". When was the last time you saw some little runt? That's what he is. He's a runt. He's a very short little man. And think of him as an alpha male. Sorry, it doesn't work. But, he's got a big following. He's got this. And it just leaves me shaking my head saying, like, where are they getting their direction? I mean, if you want to really become something, you want somebody that inspires that. If I'm thinking alpha male, I'm thinking some guy that's, 6 feet tall, broad shouldered, stiff jawed, at least rugged looks, whatever. It's not in how they wear their facial hair or, in what tone they talk to women at. That's not what makes an alpha male, and it's a terrible term in the first place, okay? So anyways, rounding this all up. So apparently, everything we do nowadays, we need to have a coach. Do we really need to have a coach? No. What we need to go beyond. All these people have taken the idea of personal development, and they've gone beyond that and created personal dependency. That's what it is. It's now personal dependency. It has nothing to do with development. If you have to, call somebody up and ask you, what do I wear today? And then you have to ask somebody, how shall I eat today? And then you have to ask somebody, when should I call this girl and ask her out? Or when should I everything? How do you grow, or how do you even create proper social circles? You don't. It's like you're trying to achieve this level of perfection, but not just a level of perfection. You're trying to go beyond what is normal in relationships and create this perfect, what's the word I'm looking for? Here's the beauty of, when you're going live here, you stumble every once in a while. The word, I guess what I'm trying to get at is they're trying to avoid making any mistakes. Mistakes is what makes you grow. If you don't make mistakes, you don't grow, and you never achieve personal development. Okay? Which is half the problem these days. Look what we have out there. We have, it's like turned into relationships, turned into battles. Women, everywhere you go, women are turning to all these types of artificial means to, in their mind, make themselves look and feel attractive, which is ridiculous. Especially many of these young girls who, they haven't got they have got no cellulite, they haven't got a line or a wrinkle in their face. Most of them are reasonably attractive. The unattractiveness of anything, if anything, is their lack of personal pride. They've given up their pride in order to try to achieve something that's not even really appealing. So they missed the mark completely. And it's all happened because the media and, the world in general, certainly go to YouTube, they'll convince you, have determined that you can't achieve these things yourself. So you better hire somebody to get you there, which creates another problem. So now you need a financial guru because all these gurus are costing you so much money, you have nothing left. So what am I trying to get at here? It's the same thing when it comes down to being a natural bodybuilding trainer. Everything takes time. Everything takes time. If you're not willing to put in the time, you're going to keep running to each one of these things every now and then. The next fad diet, the next new exercise phenomenon, whatever the case might be. You're never going to settle in and get really good at anything because you're always looking for the next thing, because the thing before you never mastered it in the first place, and something else supposedly better came along. If you're a natural trainer, you learn, that's a training naturally all your life, and I can vouch for that after 40-some years. It gives you a perspective that you will never gain if you're not a natural training individual. You're that person that needs to have it yesterday and you want it instantly. You are never going to be happy with those other aspects of your life. You're never going to feel like you know how to approach a woman properly. You're never going to know how to handle different life circumstances, so therefore you need a life coach and a dating coach. And you're never going to think that you have these skills in the bedroom to make your partner happy, so therefore you're going to need that sex coach. And then you're never going to be look the way you have that right perfect hairdo or hairstyle for men, or the right jean jacket, or the right suit coordination, whatever the case might be, because all these people have told you that you can't. And if you go to them, you can have it now. So you haven't taught yourself anything. That's the other drawback. If you even find any of these individuals that are worth their salt, and I think they're few and far between, what did you actually learn? You just did what they told you to do, because most of them, just like many of the personal trainers in the gym, do not teach the psychological aspect of making the changes. They just show you the physical end. And the physical end will go in here and out there. It won't be retained. So you need to get dialed in psychologically. You need to develop that skill mentally. If you develop that skill mentally, it'll stay with you for the rest of your life. And that takes time. Like, there's so much that I've learned in 40-some years that I couldn't forget, even if I tried to forget it. It's ingrained in me. It became part of my mantra, and part of it without me even asking it to. It just was. Learn to develop patterns, learn to develop, structure, learn to develop routines. All these things are what netted me results, netted me wins, and netted me successes, and netted me that ability to get back up when I got knocked down. And you can do that as well. Everybody can do that. Okay? So, stop turning, I'm not saying, don't go out and buy a self-help book. I'm not saying, don't talk to, somebody when things, you just can't seem to get something right. But really, the things I discussed here tonight are things that people learn in the course of their lifetime. And they learn them through friends, family, intuitive development, trial and error, and failure. This is how you learn. And by the time you get, into, that comfortable age, I'd like to say, well, by the time I don't know, some people are sitting there going, I never want to be old. I never want to be 40. I never want to be 50. Those can be the best years of your life. I've had hell in many of those years, but I can tell you, they are by far the best years of my life. Would I like to go back and change some stuff and make some better decisions along the way? Of course. But if you develop, I cannot dispute all that I've learned throughout those years, so that now whatever gets thrown at me at this stage in life is easily taken care of. And that comes by developing your own skills, not reading somebody else's brochure, not going through somebody else's checklist. Okay? So it's just something else that you can learn by going to the gym, and giving it 100% effort, and and following through on your goals. I think I'm going to leave it at that. And I wanted to make this a little bit more humorous. Probably I could have. That's not really my strong point. You'll probably find out as we go along. I can be a fairly intense individual at times, and for some people that's maybe a bit much. I'm not going to apologize for it. It's who I am, but I am sincere, and that's all I'm going to say on this subject. Last thing I'm going to say is you won't have to look at this horrendous backdrop much longer. Over the next week to 2 weeks, I think I'm going to have a few things done here in the studio, and things are going to be looking much better. Definitely by the end of August, anyways. Much better all around. Have a new microphone system coming in, and I'll be definitely starting to incorporate some of the exercise and actual gym demonstrations into many of these. Found a way, I think, to incorporate both a mixture of the live presentation and the video recordings of stuff that I'm going to do in the gym, as well as following along on my own journey over the next year, getting ready for hopefully to step back on stage again, which would be wonderful. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. Once again, before I leave you, I'm just going to say, if you are those people, or you are one of those people, or somebody that has a story, doesn't have to be some glamorous story. What I'm looking for is people that don't do drugs, believe in the natural way, have either, had some tremendous weight gains, tremendous weight losses. Maybe they went from whatever to competition, or did their, prepare for their first competition, and, talk about the experience. Those type of things. I'm looking for those people for Spotlights Fridays. Good chance to get some exposure. If you're a competitor, what better way to get exposure? And plus, it's a way to give to the sport. You want to be stand behind natural training and natural athletes. This is your opportunity. You can't talk about it if you don't support it. Okay. And also, as well, if I can get any of you to visit my YouTube channel, Bull Fierce Training, and watch a few of my videos, or at least subscribe to my channel. It doesn't cost you anything. That would be much appreciated, and that would help things along as well. And for right now, I think I'm going to sign off. Not too sure about what Wednesday's show is about. I know it's already up there, but it's kind of eludes me mentally. Sorry for a moment. But things have calmed down here. Looks like the storm blew through. And I'm just going to say goodnight, say God bless, and get out there and train Bull Fierce, train natural. Bye for now.